Hello, YouTubers. As you probably know by now, there's been a lot of talk of war with Iran. I certainly hope that's not the case, but given recent realignment in global affairs, it's looking more likely. While I'm opposed to war with Iran, it's important to discuss what benefits there would be for the administration to start a war with Iran. A war with Iran would act as a check on Russia and China. Also, starting a war could be a big boost for the economy. Since war has a tendency to unite people, it would likely even make Trump more popular with his base, especially since many who support Trump also support war with Iran. Trump could likely even win a re-election if a war was started at the right time. Imagine a soaring economy and a united base largely supportive of war with Iran. It's a scary thought. Of course, there are many downfalls to a war with Iran, too many to list, but perhaps the most important is that it's morally wrong. Also, it's not guaranteed that a war with Iran would boost the economy. Poor mismanagement could lead to a terrible recession or depression, especially if we lost. Despite Trump's base, the plurality of Americans are opposed to war with Iran. Much like Vietnam, war with Iran would lead to a huge amount of civil unrest in this country. We don't really need to look at the benefits versus negative consequences, however, to know that the likelihood of war with Iran is coming. All we have to do is look at America's policy towards Iran for the last several decades. Who reasonably thinks that America will start playing nice now or at any point in the near future? However, it's also important to note that if there's been a president that doesn't mind turning over established norms, it's Trump. And right now, according to the reports, he's pretty much the only one within the administration resistant to starting a war with Iran. Though it's probably all for show. After all, he's the one that nominated Bolton, Pompeo, and the other warmongering advisors. As I've said in the past, the most recent round of Iranian sanctions won't be all that effective because other nations will find a way to circumvent the dollar and it will lead to increased conflict. That's currently what's happening now, and it's making America look weak. Also, the recent alliance between Russia and China is something that America would likely consider a serious geopolitical challenge. As you probably know, Iran is friends with both Russia and China, with China being the biggest buyer of Iranian oil. Now that European countries of Britain, France, and Germany have come up with a system to circumvent the dollar, this limits America's enforcement of sanctions. Again, it makes America look weak. Also, that Iran has stated they are no longer keeping the obligations to the JCPOA, it puts Trump in an awkward position of telling Iran to abide by the treaty that he himself first withdrew from. In addition to making America look weak, it makes America look stupid and unreliable. I think that the talk of whether the evidence, that is, the supposed bombing of oil tankers by the Iranians, is a false flag is kind of besides the point. Of course, it's a false flag, but I don't think these accusations were meant to justify military force in and of themselves. I think it's being done to put the U.S. on an inevitable course towards war. I think Bolton and Pompeo's next move will be to gin up fear that Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon, and that's when we'll start the war. Currently, Trump is the only one preventing war with Iran. All of his advisors are encouraging military action in Iran, and they don't care about congressional approval. At the same time, America has tweaked Iran enough that Iran has decided to pull out of the nuclear deal and may even soon have nuclear weapons grade material. So, what will happen? Again, it's a risky approach, but given that Trump hasn't given the go ahead for military action, he might want to make a better deal, or what he views as a better deal than the JCPOA. he probably ended the nuclear agreement for that. The problem is that no one really views the U.S. as a trustworthy ally anymore. Also, with the exception of Britain and Israel and Saudi Arabia, of course, no other U.S. ally really believes the evidence. But then again, how many allies do we really have now? So, whether a war with Iran happens before the elections or not, well, who knows? I can imagine the military being ordered to escort ships in the area near the Iranian coast until the election is over. Shy of that, I'd say it happens before the election. People tend to unite more during wartime, and since people favor a war with Iran, unfortunately, there's a pretty significant political benefit. Well, those are my thoughts. My thoughts, folks. If you're looking for accurate reporting and honest analysis, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for your time.